Welcome to the IASA Podcast Network. I am Rich Volz, Illinois Association of School Administrator Associate Director. This is a podcast episode, and today I will be interviewing Mrs. Sandy Tignor, Eureka Middle School math teacher, and also spouse of Washington Superintendent John Tignor. Sandy, I recently posted a Twitter message about your flipped classroom teaching approach that was highlighted in the November 25th, 2012 article in the Bloomington Panagraph. I was very impressed with your quote, "Not a single 8th grade student is doing poorly in math. The lowest grade right now is a low B." So I'd like to spend the next few minutes talking to you about how you have transformed your teaching, and we'll talk about the technology you're using, and we'll also talk about the methodology you're using, and you can give us the reason why you think the students are doing so well in class. So to begin with, why don't you first tell our audience a little bit about yourself and your teaching position at Eureka?
Okay, I teach 8th grade math. Most of the day I teach a regular 8th grade math class, and I also have a class of algebra, which are our advanced students. This is my 4th year to be teaching math at Eureka Middle School.
How did this concept of flipped classroom get started?
Well, we have been using a regular textbook ever since I've been in this position, and the state of Illinois is moving to the new Common Core curriculum, and the textbook that we have been using is simply not aligned with Common Core anymore. A number of the things that had been covered in 8th grade math are no longer part of the 8th grade math curriculum when you switch over to Common Core. So we talked to our principal and to our superintendent and realized that we were going to have a new book in order to move on if we were going to be covering the correct curriculum for Common Core. So we looked at several different textbooks, several different curriculums, had some people from representing different textbook companies come in and talk to us. And we saw some things, but then our superintendent, Bob Bold, came and talked to the 7th grade math teacher, Stacy, and myself and said, would you consider doing something a little radical? And he threw out the option to us. He said the school district is not going to be able to have the funds to buy new textbooks for the entire 8th grade and 7th grade math program and also purchase technology. But if we would be willing to create the curriculum, then the district would put the money into technology and we could have computers for our classroom instead of new books. So we discussed it and decided that the right thing to do was step into the future instead of stepping into the past with another set of textbook, which could be outdated in a year or two. And once we put it onto a computer, then it's a very fluid thing. We'll be able to make adjustments as we go. So we decided to take that leap and get the computers and proceed from there.
So explain to our listeners how your teaching has changed since you flipped your classroom. And you might want to kind of explain how you do it.
Okay. Instead of a textbook, the kids no longer have a book in math. Our entire curriculum is online. We have an online textbook. And in our online book are lessons and homework assignments obviously for every concept, for every chapter. In the past, I would stand up at the whiteboard and we would go through a certain concept for the period. Our class periods are 43 minutes long. I would usually spend about 30 minutes of that time period going over the lesson. And then I would give the kids their homework. They could get started on it they could get about 10 minutes worth of homework done while they were still in class, and then the rest was up to them to finish outside of class. Now, my lessons are all recorded in advance, and they are linked on the website where our math book is housed. So the kids listen to the videos, and they can just get busy and go about their homework lessons at their own pace. Those kids who don't understand something the first time can go back and listen to the video a second time, or part of the video a second time, or a third time if they need it. Some kids catch on to things quite easily and listen to things once and onward they go. So instead of my spending the class period up in front of the students going over something new, I spend the class period circulating around the room. Kids who have questions and have their hand up, I go and help them with something. Or it's very easy with kids this age to sense frustration. You know, somebody will be groaning, and then that tells me, okay, this person has a problem. They need help. I go over there. So I spend my period, instead of presenting a new lesson, I spend the whole period helping kids understand whatever it is that they might be confused about. And so it's a totally different way of teaching than what I have ever done before.
I recently talked to a teacher who had flipped their classroom, and this teacher told me in the past he thought he used to talk to every kid every day. He said now he knows he talks to every student every day.
Yeah, that's so true. You have so much more time. When there's only 10 minutes at the end of the period for kids to work on homework, you can't possibly get to everybody in 10 minutes. And plus, the other reality is, at that point, sometimes by the time you're done going over a lesson in 30 minutes, some kids are ready to check out, and they're just like, I'll look at this homework later. Well, then when they look at it, and they're either in a study hall or they're at home, and they have a question, then you're not there to ask the question. So they can't get help necessarily with the things that they're struggling with. So it's very much more so where I get around, even if I'm not one-on-one with every student every day, I get to every table, I walk around, how are you guys doing? Is everybody here getting it? Any struggles with anything? And then I can move on to another table. So you definitely have a lot more interaction time with the kids than ever you did in the traditional classroom.
Now you sent me links to your classroom websites, and I went on those classroom websites, and they look just like a book. I mean, you have you're really writing your own book. You have your own written instructions and directions and lecturing, I suppose, as well as you have the video portions. What software and hardware are you using to make this all come together?
Well, as I said, when we did not get new books, the district bought a class set of tablets. So I have 30, they're Lenovo ThinkPads is what we're using. I have a class set of 30. The kids really like those. The touch screen, they just think that's awesome. And the other nice thing that I really like about them versus a laptop is the battery life. The tablets hold their charge all day. So I can be working with them first period in the morning, and by the end of the day, the tablets are still good without having to have 30 plug-ins. So that's been really nice. That's our hardware that we use. And the website that I use is Wix, W-I-X, and I've created everything on that website is all free. I haven't paid for any of it, so that's been really nice. That site is completely free for anybody to use and set up whatever they want, and in my case, I set up a book on there. I have my videos, my instructional videos have all been made with a program called Show Me, and I have an iPad, and I've made all those instructional videos on that. Once again, a free website, a free app, so I don't pay anything to get that done. And then we use IXL for a lot of good majority of our homework. And that is something the district has to pay for, but it's relatively inexpensive. I don't know the exact cost of it, but I think it's less than $10 per student per year. So it's pretty inexpensive to have any of either those programs are free or inexpensive. So the real cost of the district came in purchasing those tablets.
Well, I know you must be spending a lot of time outside of school day making these video lessons. How much has this added to your teaching load, and has it been worth the effort?
Well, to be honest with you, if I were doing this for 1 year, it would not be worth the effort. It is a huge time commitment. I figure by the time that it's done, I will have spent at least 400 hours per course, and I'm doing 2 different courses this year. So I spent most of my summer, I spend most of my weekends working on getting the the chapters written and all the videos made and all the links connected and so forth. It's a huge time commitment. I think that next year and the year after, that's when I'm going to get the big payoff. It will be worth it. It is nice to have something that is so easily changed. As we're going through this year, I'm learning there are some things that haven't been perfect. Some things I need to modify a little for next year. And, I won't have to rewrite an entire book. I'll just have to either make one new video or eliminate one homework assignment or whatever. So in the end, I think it's going to be hugely worth the effort. But initially, it is a very big time commitment.
I guess the thing that impressed me the most was your quote in the paper when you said the lowest grade right now is a low B. So what do you attribute your student academic performance?
Well, I must say that was a little earlier in the year, and I do have a few students who have fallen below that now. However, it's still been more successful. One of the reasons that they're doing well this year is because of the way the whole homework situation is. In the past, I give a homework assignment, kids go home, and those kids who really want to do it and learn it right, usually get it done. There's always a certain element of kids just fill something out just so that it's been completed. This year, with our most of our homework is on a website called IXL, just those three letters, IXL.com. And on IXL, the students gain points for every question they get correct, and they also lose points for every question that they answer incorrectly. So it's not a website where kids just want to just guess and get it done. It's not possible to guess and get it done. You have to understand something in order to keep moving along. Every assignment on IXL is worth a maximum of 100 points. So every time, if they get one right, and they're now at 10 points. They get 3 or 4 right, they're now at 27 points. As they're going along, they can see the exact score they're earning. It's not like a worksheet in another class where they fill it out, turn it in, and they don't know before it comes back to them what the grade is going to be. They know all along. They can constantly see how they're doing, how the progress is going. And they're very motivated to get the answers correct because if they miss a problem, it deducts points from their score. I have set as a minimum acceptable score for the kids 80%. They have to get at least 80 out of 100 points before the assignment is considered to be complete. So there's no way to get 80 points by just randomly throwing out any answers. Most of the problems are not multiple choice. Some are, but a lot of them are not. The kids actually have to figure something out and enter an intelligent answer in there. And so they really have to think through their homework every day. And I think that in the end leads to them getting a better understanding of what they're doing. They're not just completing it, they have to complete it correctly.
Well, obviously the students have the notebooks when they're in class. What about the ability to do this work outside of class at home, either to listen to your lecture again or to do some of this homework on IXL?
The website is available from any computer that has internet access. So most of our students do have internet at home. There is a link to both websites from our school's homepage, so it's very easy for the kids to listen to the lectures or do their homework at home. A lot of the kids at our school also have a study hall in the afternoon. They can work on their math in a study hall. And if they don't have internet at home, we encourage them to be sure that they do have a study hall in their schedule. We also have before school and work, we have what we call homework club after school. They can stay till 4 o'clock any day. So if anybody needs extra time on a computer, they can also stay in during recess if they have something they need to finish up. So there are opportunities for them at school to spend extra time on the computer. And then, again, most of them have the opportunity at home as well. The other thing that has worked out well for us this year, and it plays kind of into this question as well, is it used to be the old method where I give one lesson, one homework assignment, and the homework assignment is due tomorrow. Now, I assign things in bigger sections. So, for example, right now, my math class is in Chapter 4, Section 2, 4.2. There are 7 or 8 homework assignments in 4.2. So I might give them 4 or 5 days to get that assignment done. So if they have, for example, if they know they're going to be busy there on the basketball team and they're not going to be around to work on homework tomorrow night, well, they can get ahead on their homework. They can work on it on a weekend, or when they have time, they can get ahead. They're not bound by the one assignment, one day anymore. And so that does give them quite a bit of flexibility. If they know they're going to be away from internet access for a few days, well, they have the opportunity to get ahead, and that alleviates some of the problems that might be associated with, well, I can't get to a computer tonight. Well, you don't have to do anything necessarily specifically tonight, as long as it's done within the general time frame there.
Well, in Illinois, we're going to this new teacher evaluation system. It's based on the Danielson Frameworks for Teaching. And the key ingredient for that framework is engaged students, which Danielson defines as the students being intellectually involved in the work. And it seems to me that these flipped classroom kind of approaches that you're doing, like you explained earlier, when you were 30 minutes lecturing, sure, a student might ask a question or answer a question from time to time, but certainly not all the students were intellectually engaged in the work. But in the way they're doing it now, I mean, if an administrator came into your classroom now, I would say virtually all the students would be intellectually engaged in the work.
Yeah. In fact, it was interesting. This fall I was being evaluated, and my principal said, well, let's pick a day that I can come evaluate you. I said, well, it's going to look really, it was very unusual as a teacher to not prepare a special lesson. He came into my classroom and he saw the kids doing what they do, which is either listening to videos, working on their homework, or helping each other work on their homework. We have I have a big poster that I made for my wall saying, instead of who wants to be a millionaire, it says who wants to be a mathematician. And I listed the different lifelines that the kids have if they have a question. And one thing they can obviously do is always ask a teacher. But another thing that's on the list that they can do is consult with a classmate. They are encouraged to work with each other. And that to me has been a huge bonus of this direction as well, because kids are helping other kids. Now in IXL, 2 kids might be doing the exact same homework section, but they will never have the same problem in the same order. It just doesn't ever happen. So it's not like 2 kids could sit together and say, all right, let's both turn on our tablets. We'll do our homework. You do all the work and I'll copy the answers. It's not possible. So it enables it. What it does is if one student has a question of another student, they have to ask a question, which is, how do I do this problem? They can't say, what did you get for number 3? They don't have the same number 3. So not only do you see kids involved with getting their own work done, but kids helping other kids, which is, just awesome.
Right. That's one of the highest strands in Bloom's taxonomy, is teaching others.
Right.
And that's what your students are doing.
Exactly. And one of the interesting things is, because, they do have the flexibility of kind of going at their own pace and so forth, some of the kids who might not be the brightest stars in math, and yet on a certain concept, they are the ones getting it. I've got kids who have been in the past struggling students, and they don't understand everything, but on a certain concept, kids are coming and asking them, how did you get this done? And I think that's really awesome for them to be able to feel like, yeah, not only did I get mine done, but I helped somebody else get theirs done today too. So that's been really a rewarding part of it as well.
So besides the negative of the large number of hours you've spent in writing your book and preparing the lessons, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I really, I do enjoy so much more being able to spend the time with the kids, get around and help those who need it. I feel like the kids see the teacher in such a different light. Instead of them walking the door and thinking, oh, okay, I'm just going to sit here and listen for the next 30 minutes. They're walking in, getting busy, and my role is to be their helper, to be their assistant, to clarify something for them. And if they have a question, and some of them will say, well, I listened to the video, but I didn't understand this. And I say, all right, well, let me show it to you in a different way. The kids are anxious for whatever I have to say, rather than seeing if there's a way they can tune out. And obviously all kids are not tuning out every day, but you also have to realistically know that some kids are not always engaged in what they should be engaged in. And now I have the opportunity to go around and be the one who says, okay, what do you not understand about this? How can I help you understand this better? And I feel like it puts the whole role of teacher in a much more positive light for them, too.
So are there any closing comments you would like to make to our audience?
Well, I would just say that, for anybody who takes it on, I think the best thing to do is remember that the first time you do it, it's just a work in progress. And I told all my kids, we decorated the classroom at the beginning of the year with airplanes, and I said, this year we are all test pilots. You guys are, and I am as well. And we're learning as we go. We've done some things that have been highly successful. We've done some things that I've thrown some things out that have frustrated the kids. And then I have to say, okay, let's go backwards on this. I'm sorry, this is a frustration. We're going to change this. We're going to alter this. But we're all learning things as we go this year. And, I will definitely make a few changes for next year. Right now, I'm still trying to finish writing the rest of the curriculum for the current year, but we will be making changes as we go. And the kids have been great too about understanding that. I let them make suggestions. I have a whiteboard where they can leave suggestions for me or for each other. And it is definitely a learning process. It's a road we're going down. We're not going to be to the end and have all things worked out in the first year, but we've definitely come a long way already, and hopefully things just keep getting better.
Well, thank you very much, Sandy, for sharing with us your flipped classroom approach, and I really like this concept that you're doing. I realize it's a lot more work, but when students are performing better and they're engaged more in learning, I'm sure it makes it a more worthwhile experience for everybody.